Good afternoon, my conscious co-creators. Welcome to another edition of the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. I am very, very pleased that you are all here with me today. It's one of those special shows. It's just you and me today. So please post on the live stream if you're listening live. Let me know if you have any questions, comments about what we're talking about, or something different. I'm happy to be here and respond to your questions and comments throughout the entire show. But first, of course, we do have our blog post today before we get into our main topic. And today's blog post, um, it's kind of an important one, I feel. The title is Other People's Choices Can Be Confusing, for We Are Not in Their Situation. Humans are funny creatures. They seem to be smart, logical creatures, yet they still do odd things, like stay in painful relationships or continue to allow themselves to be treated poorly. It can be very confusing for us. We can see it so clearly. For us, they should obviously get divorced, leave their job, move out of their home, or any number of other situations. Being on the outside of the situation gives us a certain clarity. Yet we may not be so clear when it comes to our own situations. When we are emotionally involved in a certain situation, it clouds our judgment and causes us to not be logical. And being logical in an emotional situation rarely happens for good reason. We cannot be logical in matters that involve our hearts. Whether it is a matter of a relationship, a career, or business, finances, or any other aspect of our lives. Exactly because it is our situation. When it is someone else's situation, we do not have the same attachments, the same perspective, or the same emotions that they do. And while it may be obvious to us that the situation the person is in does not serve or is actually hurting them, the unknown of leaving may be far more scary or painful to them. To break free of a situation that they have been involved in for years or decades may take a lot more support than we realize. Leaving a relationship or a job that is abusive sounds like a natural thing to do, and it is. Yet actually doing it when you realize you are the person in the middle of the situation may be far more difficult than we realize. There may be many factors involved that we don't see. Ultimately, it is always up to the person themselves who is in the middle of it to make and act upon that decision. Only they know when they are truly ready. Only they can make that step forward to freedom. We can support and encourage them all we can, but we must respect their own decisions, for we truly do not know how we would act if we were in the exact same situation. For the familiarity of the pain they are in may be far more comfortable than the pain of entering the unknown of something different. It requires a great deal of trust. a tremendous amount of faith in life. The best thing we can do as outsiders is to be there for them, to support them in their decisions, even when they don't make sense to us. This does not mean we have to enable them. It just means we show up with compassion and love for them and support them in ways we can when they finally do take that scary step forward. Is that not what we would want ourselves? Is there someone in your life who confuses you? Can you stand by them even when what they do doesn't make sense to you? So this blog post I wrote a couple of years ago, probably a little less than a couple of years ago, um, it was after some ceremonies and hearing about people within the community sort of talking to each other about this one particular person, about, oh, why are they still in that relationship? Why don't they change? And oh, they just complain about the same thing over and over again. And I was discussing it with my wife, and she really pointed out that when you've been in a relationship for so long, and again, the relationship doesn't have to be a familial relationship or an intimate relationship. It can be a relationship with your boss, with your business, with your career. Change is scary. And even if we're under a lot of stress, even if we're in a lot of pain, to change into something else, which is unknown, can be far scarier than staying in the pain you know. Right? What's that old expression? The devil you know is much better than the devil you don't know. And so it really struck me because I'm probably as guilty as anyone else at looking at someone else's situation, looking at how they're staying in that situation that we're thinking to ourselves, oh my God, I would never stay in that situation. But they do much longer than any of us think we would do. As a matter of fact, I've been in that position. You know, my loyal listeners know I've talked about it on my show, that I was in a situation helping friends out when I was in college and right after college for quite a long time. And everybody was like, they're just friends. You don't have to support them. They're not even your lovers. Why are you doing this? And I just felt it was the right thing to do. So I've been on the receiving end of that. Oh, I can't believe they're still doing that for so long. I was the person they were saying that about. But you know what I've come to learn and see and experience over the years is that we don't know what it feels like to be inside someone else's skin. We don't know what their emotional, psychological makeup is like. Because as adults, we look at a thing, at a situation, and we think, oh, it's obvious what you should do. But our choices that we made years ago and the experiences that we had years ago impact everything about how we show up and what decisions we make. And because of some pain, some trauma, some tragedy that we had when we were 5 years old, maybe we could never make any other choice because no other choice feels safe to us. It's always easy to criticize. It's always easy to say, oh, I would never do what they're doing. Far more difficult to have compassion and to be there for the person and to say, look, I don't understand why you're making this choice, but I'll support you anyway. That compassion is far more supportive than you can possibly know. Because if everybody else is telling the person, oh, you should leave, you should do this, you should do that, and you're the only one that says, I don't understand it, but I'm there for you, you might be the only person that your friend would feel like they could trust, that they could open up to, that they feel seen. And when you think about it, whenever we say something like, oh, I would never do that. Oh, it's so obvious. They should do this and that and the other thing. Is that coming from your heart or your head? Is that is that your compassion talking or is that your ego talking? It's so easy for us to criticize other people and to say we would never do what they do in their situation. What about your own situations? Have you taken a hard look at the choices you've made that maybe other people would say, oh, I never would have made that choice? So easy to criticize, much harder to show up with compassion. And in the end, I know for myself personally, the compassion always meant a lot more to me. The criticisms never served me. Well, why are you still doing that? All that does is made me push against it even harder. You know, if less people had been, oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? If just one person had said to me, I don't understand it. Can you explain it to me? Can I help you? Is there anything I can do to help you get out of that situation? Who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have stayed in it so long. Yeah. This blog post is a call to rein in that ego a little bit and to maybe let your heart speak to someone who's in a challenging situation, even if you disagree with their choices. Why don't you be a little curious instead? Ask them, why are they deciding to stay? What do they want? What can you do to support them in what they want? You never know. Maybe just showing up with that compassion might just be the very thing they need to make a different choice. So that's my blog post. It's entitled Other People's Choices Can Be Confusing, for We Are Not in Their Situation. And you can always find my blog at theconsciousconsultant.com. And of course, on the station's website at talkradio.nyc/blog. So, let me know how you feel about that blog post. Oh, and don't forget, if you do like my blog posts that I read every week at the beginning of my show, and you kind of like my different perspectives and different insights, I do have a book, Everyday Awakening, which you can get at all major booksellers. Came out in November of 2020, and it still sells of copies now and then. I actually gave a copy to a couple of friends a few weeks ago, and one of them were like, "Oh my God, I love this book. I told all my friends about it. I sent them the link. I told them they have to buy it." Which I truly, truly appreciate when someone does that. So I entitled this week's episode, and our topic this week is, why does rest feel so hard? Why rest feels so hard to do. And it really it really comes from the ceremony my wife and I just held this past weekend working with our clients. Excuse me, got a little something in my throat. Um, where more than one person had a real challenge just sitting and resting, just being and not doing, just allowing themselves to feel good and held for a period of time without having to take care of anybody. I mean, it's so funny how so many people, especially women, are so used to taking care of people all their lives, all the time, that when it comes time for them to rest, it's a tricky thing. It's a challenging thing. It's hard. It's really hard to just sit and rest. And by rest, I don't mean sleep. Rest is not working. Rest is not doing something. Rest, it's really a choice. It's a decision. And it's a decision that we may make in our minds, but whether we actually do or not is up to the body, is up to our nervous system. And many people know about it, but many people, I'm sure, don't know about the sort of two, there are other, but there are two basic types of aspects to our nervous system. There's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is what sort of drives action, doing, striving, being alert, problem solving. Think of it as the being on nervous system. And the parasympathetic, well, that's the one that's involved in rest, repair, connection, digestion, sort of the things that when we're not out running around, that our body needs to do. And so when our sympathetic nervous system is active, we're alert. We're looking around. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh, what about tomorrow? And think that this. Oh, and I got to get this done later today. And oh, I forgot to do that. And if your mind is going like that on all the things you have to do, that's your sympathetic nervous system. But let's say you've just had a big meal. I mean, tonight is the first night of Passover. There's the Seder. People are going to be eating a lot of food who are Jewish. And at the end of that meal, they're going to be like, oh, food coma. I just need to digest for a while. I just need to sit here and rest for a little bit. That's the parasympathetic nervous system being activated. And so, one of the important things about rest is we can't just think our way into resting because it's not about the mind, it's about the body. And the body has to feel safe enough to rest. It's like when you watch animals out in the wild. If there's a predator around, if you're a gazelle and there are lions, you're alert and you're looking around and you're ready to bolt at any moment. And let's say a lion attacks and you get away and you run far, far away, and now there are no more lions around, and now you can rest. This is all very instinctive. It's not, it's not something mental. It's something we feel in our bodies. And to be still can feel really unsafe, especially when most of our life we've had to deal with stressful situations. Maybe, we did not have the best family situation growing up. Maybe, our parents used to fight all the time. Maybe there was always commotion and always so much going on, or maybe there was a sibling who was sick and everyone had to care for that sibling. Like there was always action. And so as human beings, we're very adaptable. We adapt to all kinds of situations. And whether it's from childhood or adulthood, when we've been in a stressful situation for a long period of time and we've been on the go, go, go for so long, our bodies get used to that. Our systems adapt that as like being normal, with the cortisol, the different hormones and the chemicals being secreted, and just the posture of the nervous system. It's like, I've got to be on all the time or something's going to go wrong. And so when things suddenly get quiet for us, when we finally try and get rest and get still, the nervous system doesn't really feel that it's peaceful. It feels like uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. And so what happens when we get quiet? We get in our head, the thoughts start going right and left on all over the place. We start checking our phone, we're doom scrolling or doing something. And there's this little anxiety, there's this agitation around that. We just feel like we got to be doing something. And it's so funny because this has happened in the last few ceremonies where there was always at least one person who's like, "Oh, I need something more. I just, I feel like I'm not doing my work. I need to work on something." And I'm like, "Well, how do you feel?" And like, "Oh, I feel peaceful. I feel good." And it was like, "How often do you feel peaceful in your day-to-day life?" And they're like, "Well, not that often." And it's like, why don't you just sit and enjoy being peaceful? Because every one of these people have been in traumatic situations, and that peacefulness, that restfulness, that state of stillness, it doesn't feel like rest. It feels like something's wrong or something's about to happen, right? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so we're used to being in this productive, do state all the time. Whereas really, we think, oh, I'm just being productive. But really, it's like we're stuck in this highly functional state of anxiety where on the outside, it looks like, we're being productive and we're accomplishing things. And yeah, I'm accomplishing. Look at all the stuff I'm accomplishing. But underneath, what's really happening with the nervous system, it's constantly scanning for a problem. It's constantly scanning for what could go wrong. There's this anticipation about, like it's not safe to just do nothing. I have to be busy. And so we stay busy to avoid actually feeling the anxiety or the fear or whatever, like tack your emotion on here. We stay busy to avoid feeling this emotion. But for the nervous system, the truth is that busyness is how we're regulating ourselves. By staying busy, we feel we're in control. We feel like, oh, okay, if I'm busy, I'm doing good. I'm accomplishing something. I feel good about myself. I feel like I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. But the truth is, it's not so much that we're addicted to the doing, although our nervous system has kind of gotten used to it. Our doing is a coping mechanism for how we regulate ourselves through whatever anxiety or feeling is underneath that we are terrified, absolutely terrified to come face to face with. So I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not saying being productive is a negative thing. I'm not saying that constantly doing is so wrong or so bad. I just want to shine a different light on it and to help you to realize that this constant state of doing is how you're regulating yourself. When we find ourselves caught doing the same thing over and over and over again, when we're filling up every single second by checking our phones, by calling someone, by working on a project, by having to get something done, maybe what we should be asking ourselves is, why am I keeping myself so busy? Why don't I want to just let myself relax? Because our bodies need rest. We need rest. When we're constantly in this activated state, we're going to wear ourselves out. By the end of the day or the end of the week, we're going to feel exhausted. And even though we're exhausted, there's still things to do. So, um, I think I'm going to take a break here. I've got a lot more material to cover. Um, and I do want to get through it all. So I think this would be a nice logical break. So when we come back, I'm going to start talking about the loop that kind of keeps us activated, um, why rest kind of brings up those things we've been avoiding and what to do about it, and really how to get to rest, how to bring ourselves to rest in a much more supportive way rather than just going from 100 to 0. All right. So you are listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. I do this show every Wednesday now, no longer Thursdays, Wednesdays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Time here in New York City. And we will be right back with the rest of our show in just a moment. Are you a spiritual seeker? Are you interested in expanded states of reality? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will dive into these topics with authors, teachers, researchers, and guides. Tune in at our new time, Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
And welcome back to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. We're talking this week about rest, why rest is so hard for most of us, and what we can do about it. Um, and when I talk about rest, I just want to remind everyone, I'm not talking about sleep. I'm talking about taking a moment to just be with yourself, to not do. We are so addicted to doing in this society. And so I've talked a lot about, how our nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, why rest feels a little unsafe, and why like this hypervigilance of having to do looks like productivity. But it's really all about regulation. And so one of the things that kind of keeps us stuck in this loop, and I'm guilty of this. Look, I'm telling you all these things, like I'm saying all this for me as much as I am to help you. But there's this wonderful chemical called dopamine that our body produces that when we're constantly on our phone, constantly doing something, constantly getting notifications, constantly doing something, it creates this dopamine driven loop that basically helps to keep our nervous system activated all the time. And so when get so used to the dopamine in our system being there, it starts to make the quiet, peaceful moments kind of boring. It seems like there's no point to it. It's almost uncomfortable. It's like when you're used to noise being around all the time, when there's silence, it feels uncomfortable. I mean, look, I live in the middle of Manhattan. I'm used to hearing sirens and traffic and people walking by and honking and ambulances and fire trucks and police. That when I go somewhere else, when I get out of the city for a weekend and it's quiet at night, I have a hard time falling asleep the first night. Always, always, always. Second night, maybe it's a little bit better. Third night, a little bit better. By the fourth night, okay, I can get used to the silence. Because when we're constantly stimulating ourselves, when we're constantly scrolling on our phones, when we're constantly doing something, we're sort of training our mind to expect action, stimulation. We're training it to expect excitement, something. So stillness feels uncomfortable. And this is one of the great things about meditation. Now, meditation can also be doing something. Like if you're one of those people, it's like, oh, I got to sit down and do my mantra and meditate for 20 minutes right now, every day, like at this time and at that time. When you're doing it in order to do something, even though it seems to be doing something that's good for you, as opposed to engaging with it as an opportunity to be still and to just be, you know, then we're still activated. But just being still, one of the great ways to start to soften things, to start to get your nervous system and your body used to not being activated, not doing something all the time. And one of the most difficult things about just sitting and being still, just resting, is it often brings up these feelings that we've been avoiding, maybe avoiding for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, 50 years, who knows? Because when we actually slow down our body, when we actually take the time to give ourselves some space, all kinds of emotions can start to come up that don't necessarily feel so good. Maybe there's grief over some loss we've suffered in the past that we never truly was present to. Maybe there was fear, loneliness, pain, things we haven't thought about that are really uncomfortable for us, old memories. It's not that we avoid rest because we don't want to feel peaceful. It's we don't rest because we don't want to feel these challenging emotions that come up in the process. Because we don't want to feel sad. We don't want to cry. We don't want to feel how much fear we've lived through in our life. You see, because rest, it doesn't just give us a moment of peace. It shows us what we've been running away from for so long. And that's not easy. Not easy at all. I remember, what was it, 2 years ago? We went down to San Miguel de Allende for a Christmas vacation. And we spent just one evening in the Airbnb we rented, just being with each other and just sitting. And all this fear came up. And I was really just allowing myself to be present to the fear. And as I was allowing myself some time just to sit with the fear, what came with it was how many choices, how many decisions in my life I had made out of fear. I never knew I had that much fear in me. I never knew that fear had guided so many decisions in my life. It was tough. That was challenging. It did not feel good. And I know there's still a lot of fear underneath the surface. But at least in that moment, I gave it a little space. I gave my body a little time to metabolize the fear. So maybe, just maybe, it has a little bit less of a hold on me. And that's the thing. When we give ourselves some time and space, maybe when we're present to these emotions and we feel them, we metabolize them, maybe we can hold them with greater space so they control us a little bit less. Now, the thing to remember about rest is that If our nervous system is used to being go, 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 go all the time, we don't just downshift from like a 10 to a 1 to go from full speed to just deep rest right away. Our bodies don't work like that. Our bodies adjust very, very slowly. So we need a path. We need a bridge to get from go, 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 go to rest. And I've just been experiencing this the last few days. I mean, it's kind of funny that this is my topic this week because last week my computer crashed. And I like it took me a while to figure out what was going on, and then I realized, oh my God, like I've got to get a new system. I can't be without a computer because I work on it literally every single day, and ordered a new system, and then had to try and recover as much of the data from my old system as possible, and doing this and doing that, and literally for the last several days, I've just been go 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 all day long and all night long. But yesterday, it was a beautiful day here in New York City. It was like close to 80 degrees. I said to my wife, I said, Let's just go eat out. Let's go somewhere, take a walk, eat, and then we can walk through the park on the way back." So we went down, ate at this restaurant, then walked through Central Park coming back. And so that taking some time to just walk slowly, to notice our surroundings. I even spotted a hawk's nest in a tree. I saw a hawk flying and then it landed in a nest. I'm like, oh, it's a hawk's nest. And I saw there was a second hawk in it. And then it flew away to get something and flew back. So nice. Walking slowly is a way to start to calm the nervous system down. Doing a little bit of conscious breathing. Well, my wife had a phone call. We're sitting on a bench and in the park and just breathing for a bit, doing some stretching and just, working in the body. I actually went to the gym today, felt good. And just not like grabbing the phone right away. And it's like, oh yeah, I got to do this. I got to check this. Oh, I got all these messages. Just sitting without the phone for a while, like turn notifications off. Give yourself the grace of 5, 10 minutes of not communicating with anyone, not looking at what's going on in the world. Trust me, the world is still going on, whether you're looking at it or not. Because going from being on to resting, it's not flipping a light switch from on to off. It's a gradual movement there. You need to give your body some time and some grace. And one of the most important things to really allow our nervous system to fall into rest, it's really all about safety. It's like the nervous system is constantly asking us, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Do I feel safe enough to let go? It's not about, do I have time to rest? It's not about, do I deserve to rest? But is there enough safety? Do I feel enough safety in the surroundings, in my life, to just stop doing, to release control? We're constantly building safety through, having our routines, through being in a familiar place, through regulating our breath, through connecting with others. There are certain people we feel safe with and certain people we do not feel safe with. So if you want to downshift a little bit, be with people you actually feel safe with. And it's kind of funny because resting is really a skill. Like we kind of take it for granted. Like we think that like, oh my God, yeah, of course I know how to rest. You just lie down and you go to sleep. No, that's not rest. We're never really taught. I mean, I don't know. Have you been taught? I was never taught as a kid, how do you rest? Maybe at the end of the night, your parents are tired and they're like, go rest, go to sleep, go to sleep. But that's not teaching you how to rest. We're never taught. We're never taught and we never practice it. I mean, look, if you're a type A personality, high achiever, entrepreneur, or maybe you're just a caregiver or a mother and you have family to take care of, or even a father where maybe you're the stay-at-home dad, but where you're taking care of children, you're taking care of parents, you're taking care of business. We're constantly training ourselves and we know how to work and how to work and how to work, but we've never actually trained ourselves how to rest. And again, this is why meditation is wonderful, because meditation is a way of training ourselves to rest. And, when we first do it, it's uncomfortable. It's like when we learn to rest, it's learning a skill. Whenever we learn a new skill, it's uncomfortable. It's awkward. We don't know if we're doing it right. It doesn't feel good, especially if there've been some deep emotions we've been avoiding. When we rest, things start coming up and we're like, oh, no, 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 no. I can't feel that. No, 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 no. I have to go do something. Because if I don't because if I do something, I distract myself so I don't have to feel this. Otherwise, I'm going to be feeling this. Oh my God, I don't know if I can feel this. Right? We're not thinking this consciously. This is all very subtle. This is all very unconscious. So if you stop and try and give yourself some rest, and you find that no matter what, you just can't rest. You got to do something, even if nobody's asking you to do anything. When you try and rest, but then you can't, and you get on your phone and you start checking in with people and start doing this, and you're not resting, that's a clue that there's something more going on. And if it's too strong and if it's too intense, that's the time to seek out the help of a professional. That's the time to find a therapist or maybe a body worker, or maybe an energy worker, whoever resonates with you. Not this past weekend, the weekend before, I actually had some body work done. This person who's a friend who became a massage therapist, and I just, we have a really good relationship. It felt so good just to lie there on the table, not scroll on my phone, not play some little puzzle or game, not check social media, not text somebody, but to just rest and have somebody else take care of me, take care of my body. Oh, that felt so good. You want to practice resting? Go get body work done once a month. And it's funny because I hadn't had it done for a while. I was really missing it. So it felt really good. But, I do want to point out that, real rest is not about collapsing. It's not about sitting there and scrolling on your phone, and it's not about checking out and being numb. Because those things are not restorative. Those things do not regulate the nervous system, and they don't help you to reconnect with yourself. If you're go, 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 collapse, go, 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 collapse, or go, 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 scroll, 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 go, 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 scroll, 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 or go, 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 numb, let's have a drink or five, let's smoke some pot, let's do some drugs, let's whatever. Just checking out is not resting. True rest is about giving yourself the gift of reconnecting with yourself. It's about stopping and taking a breath And maybe just asking yourself a simple question. What am I feeling when I'm not doing anything? What if instead of just working straight through your day for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours, that you just stopped once an hour, once every 40 minutes, once every half hour, and just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now, right here in this moment? And to tell you honestly, truthfully, if I just take a moment to check in with myself, to not focus on the fact that I'm doing my show this week, but to just be, what am I feeling right now? I'm feeling a little tired because I've been a little stressed over my computer crash and I've been working hard to get things up and running. So I'm tired. Now, I did go to the gym this morning, and that's a good form of stress. I don't feel as tired as I felt last night or the night before, but I still feel tired. And it's important to acknowledge that. Now, you might stop right now and ask yourself, what are you feeling right now? And maybe it's not tired. Maybe there's some anxiety. Maybe you're feeling a little depressed. Maybe you're feeling uncertain because of everything going on in the world. Maybe you have family coming over tonight and you're feeling stressed because you have so much you feel you have to get done. Maybe there's a loss. Maybe you lost someone in your life recently, and so you're feeling that sense of loss and grief. Maybe you're feeling sad. Most important thing I can say about all those challenging emotions is to stop making them wrong or bad. They're feelings, they're information. They're not good or bad. They're just how your body feels. And there is nothing wrong with that. Honor that. Be present to that. Allow yourself the gift of actually feeling those emotions. Because if we don't allow ourselves to feel anxious, uncertain, scared, sad, depressed, angry, you name your uncomfortable emotion. If we don't allow ourselves to feel those, then we're not allowing ourselves to feel the opposite, feeling the good emotions, feeling joy, awe, excitement, pleasure. When we deaden ourselves to what we feel, we deaden ourselves to all of our life. So really, there are a couple of things I want you to really take away from this episode. And first and foremost, if rest feels challenging for you, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because your nervous system learned through years and years and years that doing something feels much safer than not doing something. It's not that rest is really hard. It's just unknown, uncomfortable, unfamiliar. And I'm not saying you should go from working all the time to resting all the time. That's never going to work for us. Put in little moments of rest in your day. It's not about taking a whole day off and just resting or taking an evening off and resting for an evening. Maybe it's just about resting for 5 minutes. There's this principle that says that we should actually take a 20-minute break every hour, that we should only work for like 40 minutes straight and then take a 20-minute break, and then work for 40 minutes straight and then take a 20-minute break. That can be really challenging for most people I know, taking 20 minutes out of every hour to rest. So how about this? Just start by taking 1 minute to rest and do that for a week. And then make that 1 minute 2 minutes. And then maybe 3 minutes and 4 minutes. And maybe just give yourself 5 minutes of rest each hour during the day. And look, if you're going to an office, if you're going to work, just go to the bathroom and sit on the toilet and just sit there for 5 minutes and then go back to your desk. Or go outside and just take a walk around the block and come back. Give yourself this most precious and necessary gift of rest. If you can start doing it just a little bit, and then just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, and you build up your tolerance for resting and being with yourself, I can guarantee you over the long term, you will get so much out of it, not the least of which is you'll be healthier, emotionally, physically, systematically healthier. So, is rest hard for you? Do you have a practice that helps you to rest each day, each week? Let me know. I hope what I talked about resonates with you this week. I hope you've gotten something out of it. Even if you're not listening live, even if you're listening to it after the fact, let me know. Touch base and let me know, yeah, Sam, I really appreciate it. Or, you know what? Didn't resonate with me at all. Even that feedback would be tremendously valuable. So thank you all for tuning in with me this week. I appreciate you so much. And please remember, if you did miss any part of today's show, you can always catch the replay on talkradio.nyc or on your favorite podcasting app. Thank you all so much. I've got a wonderful guest in store for you next week. I hope you tune in again. Take care, everyone. We will talk to you all next week.